Once you've had the opportunity to visit a few stumps in your neighborhood and record some data, it's time to turn the notes and the tally marks into something that might help you and others make sense of that data. The first thing I did was make a bar graph. I think this graph is good for helping me see just how many stumps shared certain features. I find it really interesting that so many had notches and burn marks, for example. There are some problems with this graph, though. It might say, for example, that some had trees growing on them, but it doesn't really tell you that some of the trees were enormous and some were tiny, or that some were covered with fungus and others had only some. Plus, I know that many stumps were hollow, had a tree growing on them, had burn marks and notches all at once. I feel like I need a different way to communicate that information. After a lot of thinking, I wondered if I could design some sort of info map. This map not only might help me record the features of each stump, but also measurements and distances between them, something that I was not able to capture in my bar graph. Like other kinds of maps, I would like my map to have a legend, a scale, and a compass rose. A legend will help other people make sense of the colors and graphics I use. For example, I'll represent splits down the stump as a blue stripe and burn marks as this little black and red box. A map scale helps everyone who reads it know the distances on my map. This is tricky to do, by the way. Maps are square, but the area I measured was not square. I decided that it was okay to estimate and just count my steps and not worry about being perfect. To keep it simple, I wanted every centimeter on my map page to represent one step or walking stride. That way, you can just measure between stumps and know about how many steps it took to go between them. 3 centimeters would equal 3 steps. Easy peasy. Unfortunately, when I tried to do that, I needed more paper and a much longer ruler. Why? Well, sometimes there were a lot of steps between stumps. What could I do to shrink things down to a single page? Pause and discuss. Instead of 1 step for every centimeter, I decided to count by 2s. Now, every time you measure 1 centimeter, you'll know that I took 2 steps. So, if there's 20 centimeters between the stumps on my map, that means I needed to take, that's right, 40 steps. Finally, the compass rose shows the map reader which way north, east, south, and west is. It helps them orient and locate each stump properly. If you live in the Lower Mainland, north is towards the mountains and west is towards the ocean. From there, it's easy to figure out east and south. And here is the final result. I don't know if my info map is perfect, but it is packed with information. All of my stump spacings are estimates, by the way. And now it's time for you to try. How might you make a bar graph or an info map to communicate the results of your data collection? I challenge you to include a map scale, a legend, and a compass rose. And I also challenge you to pack it with information as clearly as you can. When you're done, show your work to a buddy. What do they understand about the forest when they look at your graphs or maps? Good luck, everyone.